Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you already know, we are currently doing revision course for UPSC CSAT 2024 and till now we have completed arithmetic and algebra. Today we are starting with number system, and in number system today we are going to read about the basics of number system, remainders and powers. So let's start with the number system basics. So before knowing what exactly are we going to do in number system, the full number system, you should know what exactly a number is and what are the different terms. Right? First thing, what a number is. Number is, by the basic definition, you already know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all these are the numbers, right? And number line is the first term you should know. Number line is, I'm pretty sure you must have seen a line like this. This is a line which has 0 in the middle. It goes till infinity on this side, minus infinity on the other side. 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and so on. So this is a number line. I'm sure you must have seen this already in your 8th to 10th classes. And any number that lies on this number line, any number, is a real number, right? So means, suppose 0 is a real number, yes, because it lies on the number line. 1 is a real number, yes, because 1 lies on the number line. And same 1.5, yes, because it lies on the number line. And what about 2.5667? Yes, because it also lies on the number line, so that is why it's a real number. So any number which lies on this number line is a real number, and any number which does not lie on this line is a complex number, which is actually out of scope for UPSC CSAT, right? So two things, what number line is, and second thing, what real number is, right? Third is natural numbers and whole numbers. See, natural number is the counting of number starting from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till infinity. These are all natural numbers. This we have already learnt in arithmetic progression when we were doing the sum of the series, right? So this is a set of natural numbers. What is a set of whole numbers? This whole number is a series which only starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on till infinity. So the difference between natural number and whole number is just a extra 0 in whole number. Now integers. Two things. You already know about decimals. Decimal is a dot. So that is a decimal number. And non-decimal numbers are known as integers like 1, 2, 3, 55. But 66.5, whenever we see these numbers, these are not integers, these are decimals, right? So let's only talk about the integers here. So integers are are all the numbers from like -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. All these are the integers. There are positive integers which are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are negative integers like -1, -2, -3, -4. There are even integers like which are divided by or divisible by 2. Like, what are the even integers? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, -2, -4, -6. All of these are even integers. But odd integers which are not divisible by 2, like 1, 3, 5, 7, -1, -3, -5, -7. All these are the odd integers. So how do you know? Now you have understood the definitions, right? Now let's move on and now understand. Now we are going to learn about the rational numbers. As we have already discussed, number systems, anything that lies on the number line is a real number, right? This is clear. And which does not lie on the real number line is a complex number, but this is out of scope for CSAT exam, right? So just focus on the real numbers. Real numbers could be of lot of types, like an integer is a real number, natural number, whole numbers. All of these are real numbers. Why? Because they lie on the number line. And this another type of real number means all the real numbers could be divided into two categories. One is rational number, one is irrational number. What exactly is a rational number? See, a number which can be represented by P by Q form. P by Q form means where P and Q are integers. where P and Q are integers, there those numbers are rational numbers, like 2 by 3. Yes, 2 is an integer, 3 is an integer, so 2 by 3 is a rational number. Minus 4 by 6. Minus 4 is an integer, 6 is an integer, so minus 4 by 6 is a rational number. What about 3 by 0? It cannot be a rational number. So two conditions it needs to follow, that P and Q has to be integers and Q cannot be equal to 0. If Q is equal to 0, that is not a rational number, right? If Q is equal to 0, that is not a rational number. And now you understand? So P by Q form numbers where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0. This is a rational number definition. And now you need to understand the next thing, that is an integer. Suppose 5. 5 is also a rational number. How? If we can write 5 as 5 by 1. So 5 is an integer, 1 is an integer. So all integers are rational number. I hope it is clear. So the basic definition of rational number is that it is could be represented in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0, and all the remaining numbers are not rational or irrational numbers, right? Now let's go deep into rational numbers. Rational numbers could be of two types. They could either be of P by Q form, like 2 by 3, 6 by 9, 5 by 1. All these are the P by Q form rational numbers, right? Simply we can see that P by Q form, P and Q are integers. So these are P by Q form rational numbers. Second thing, non-terminating repeating. We'll learn about it in the next slide, but non-repeating, non-terminating, first thing, non-terminating decimals. So non-terminating means like 1.3666666 till infinity. It is okay that it is not stopping, it is not ending, not terminating at anywhere, but it should be repeating. Some part of the decimal should repeat itself, right? Suppose another, I could write it as like 1.267676767. It is also fine. Some part of the decimal area should be repeating itself, and then non-terminating would also be a rational number. How we'll learn in the next slide. So for now you just need to learn about two things, P by Q form and non-terminating. If it is not terminating, then it should repeat. But if it is not terminating as well as not repeating, like 1.2367689286443, so there is no repetition in the decimal. They all are irrational number. So that how to know that it is a rational number? Either it should be a P by Q form, or if it is repeating decimal, it is non-terminating decimal, it should repeat. Only two types of these are rational numbers, right? So let's move on and learn more about these rational number. First thing, rational number could be of three types: P by Q form, terminating decimal we'll learn, and non-terminating plus repeating. Suppose P by Q form is 3 by 5. Is it a rational number? Yes. Why? Because it is a P by Q form. Terminating decimal. They take a decimal of 3 by 5. If you solve this, you will get 0.6. Is it a terminating? Yes, because there is nothing after decimal, right? So 0.6 is a terminating decimal. So the decimals which stop somewhere are all rational numbers. Suppose I take another example, 1.25. Can I convert it into P by Q form? Very easily. I can write it like this, 125 by 100. First thing, tell me, is it a terminating? Is it stopping somewhere? Yes. So 1.25 could be written by as 125 by 100. Solving this, you will get it as 5 by 4. So this is also a hidden P by Q form. So two things, P by Q form and terminating decimal. So if terminating decimal given to you and they ask you, give me the P by Q form of this rational number. Yes, you can give simply 625 by 100. Solving this, you will get 25 by 4. So that is a P by Q form. I hope it is clear. But when it is non-terminating, like this 1.68444444, So it is not terminating or not stopping anywhere. But the good thing is there is some part of the decimal which is repeating. This is also a rational number. And how to convert it into P by Q form? You should know about this, and questions have been asked on this in the CSET exam. So let's start. How to convert a non-terminating repeating decimal. Now terminating decimal we have already covered. Suppose 6.25 given to you. What are you going to do? 625 by 100. So this will be 25 by 4. So this is simple. Now non-terminating repeating. So first thing you have to do, assume that number is equal to P. So P is equal to 2.5 bar. Bar means 5 is repeating itself. So P is 2.5 bar. P is 2.5 bar. Now multiply it by 10P. 10. So if you multiply this by 10, you will get 1 5 out of decimal. So it will convert into 25.555555. So this will get converted to 25.5 bar. I hope it is okay. So P is equal to 2.5 bar. 10P is equal to 25.5 bar. Just 1 5 is coming out of the decimal. Now subtracting first from second, you will get 10P minus P is equal to 9P is equal to 25.5 bar minus 2.5 bar. So 25.5555 and 2.5555. So if you solve this, everything on the right side of the decimal will be 0 and you will get 23. So you will get 23 on this. So the answer is 9P is equal to 23. P is equal to 23 by 9. So this is how you convert a non-terminating repeating decimal to a P by Q form. Right? P by Q form, right? So P by Q form is 23 by 9. I hope it is okay. Moving on, a little tricky one we are going to do, that is 6.2544444. So let's assume P is equal to 6.254 bar. I hope this is okay. Now first thing is bring everything which is not bar to the left side. So first thing I am going to do is bring 25 on the left side. So to bring 25 on the left side, I have to multiply it by not 10 but 100. So 100P is equal to 625.4 bar. Is it okay? So multiplying 6.25 by 100 will get 625.4 bar. Now this is okay. Now the next step is, which we have already done in the last question. This is a little tricky. Why? Because there is not only the repeating part in the decimal, you have non-repeating part, 25 in there. So first step is done. This is the first step. Bring everything on the left side. Now multiply by 10 on both sides. So 100P is equal to 625.4 bar. I hope this is okay. 6254.4 bar. I hope this you are able to understand, and just compare it with what we have already learnt in the last part, where what did we do? We multiply left part with the 10, right? So here what we got 1000 minus 100 is 900P is equal to, so subtracting this you will get 5629. So you will get P as 5629 divided by 900. I hope this is okay. Again, P by Q form is 5629 divided by 900. That is the answer. This question I am leaving you for the homework. This is CSET 2020 question, where they have asked you to convert 1.27 bar into a P by Q form. I hope this is clear. Now moving on to the next section, that is remainders. Very interesting section. A lot of questions have been asked on remainders. So please pay extra attention on this section. Right? Remainders. What exactly is remainder? Suppose I divide 56 by what? 8. Right? So when I divide 56 by 8, 8 7 8 7 are 56, you will get 0. I hope you understand. I hope you know calculations like this. So what did we do? 8 is a divisor. So this is known as divisor. divisor. This is known as a quotient and this is known as remainder. So when 56 is divided by 8, you get 7 as quotient and you get 0 remainder. This is clear? Now another thing you can do is, you can try this with 65 with 9. 9 sevens are 63. You will get 2. So you get 2 as remainder, right? So now what are we doing here? We are dividing 65 by 9. So 9 sevens are 9 into 7 is 63. We are not able to reach 65. By how many units we are behind? That is 2. So we can write 65 is equal to 9 into 7 is 63 plus 2 extra remainder, right? This is a way. So a number could be written like this: divisor into quotient plus remainder, right? So when I divide 52 by 7, so 7 sevens are 49. So when I divide 52 by 7, I get 7 quotient plus how much remainder I am left with? 49, 3. So 3 is the remainder I am left with. I hope it is clear. 7 sevens are 49 plus 3 extra as a remainder. So this is another way of writing how to write a number in the divisor, quotients and the remainder form. I hope this is okay. But when a number is completely divisible by its divisor, then the remainder is 0, and this is the example. When number is not completely divisible, we say that is a non-zero decimal or non-zero remainder. But when a number is completely divisible by the divisor, when we have remainder as 0, right? This question, 15 into 22 into 21 divided by 99. I don't know what is going to be the remainder, but I know by the fact, I'm just removing this. 15 into 22 into 21. Can I write 21 as 3 into 7? Can I write 22 as 11 into 2? Can I write 15 as 3 into 5? Right? 3 into 5 into 11 into 2 into 3 into 7. This is another way of writing these numbers. So I am taking 3, 11 and 3 together, multiply the remaining portion, that is 5, 2 and 7. So this whole number can be separated into two sections. This section will be 99 into 5 to 10, 10 to 70 plus 0. So this whole area gets converted into this form, 99 into 70 plus 0. So what is the remainder? Remainder is 0. Remainder is 0 because divisor into quotient form and the remainder is 0. So we say that this number is completely divisible by 99. I hope this is okay. We'll learn about remainder theorem in the next section. Don't worry, just to give you an idea what remainder is. Now, two things you need to know. If they say S is equal to 10 plus 12 plus 15 divided by say 7, right? For one thing you could do is, you could add 10, 12 and 15. That will be 27 plus 10, 37 divided by 7, and you will get remainder as 2. That is the one way of doing it, right? Another way of doing it is S is equal to 10 plus 12 plus 15 by 7. So another thing they say is, separately calculate the remainder and add them. So when 10 is divided by 7, you get remainder as 3. When 12 is divided by 7, you get remainder as 5. When 15 is divided by 7, you get remainder as 1. Right? So 5 plus 3 plus 1 is 9. Now if this is the number 9, now again divided by 7, you will get 2 as the answer. So two ways of doing it: either do it this way, do all the summation, or calculate separate remainders and add them. This thing is clear, and this is what the theorem says. So the theorem says, if S is represented in the form of n1 plus n2 plus n3, the remainder of S will be summation of each remainder, this plus this plus this, right? See, adding all those numbers was easy when the number was simple, 10, 12 and 15 or 13. But here we have 1991, 1992, 1993. Is it easy now? No. So what are we going to do? We are going to use a remainder theorem. 1991 divided by 7. What is the remainder you will get? 7 to 14, 59, 7, 8, 56, 31, 7, 4, 28, 3 as a remainder. So when 1991 is divided by 7, you will get 3 as a remainder. When 1992 is divided by, you will get 4 as a remainder. 1993, you will get 5 as remainder. Right? So now, you get 3 remainders, 3 plus 4 plus 5. Is it easy, or 1991 plus 1992 plus 1993 is easy? This is easy, of course. So now, add all these numbers. 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 3, 12. Now, we are left with 12 as remainder. Again divided by 7, you will get answer as 5 remainder. 5 remainder. I hope it is okay. So first theorem says, when number is written in the form of a plus b plus c, calculate individual remainders and then add them. Second thing, same remainder but just with the multiplication. When 3 numbers are multiplied, then to calculate the remainder, you need to multiply each of the remainder. Let's see. 1991 when divided by 7 gives a remainder as 3. 1992 divided by 7 gives a remainder as 4. 1993 divided by we give it a 5. So we have 3 into 4 into 5, right? So if you calculate this will be 60. Now we got 60. Now divide this by 7. You will get the remainder as 7, 8 is 56, remainder as 4. I hope you understand what remainder theorem is. These two sections very important, how to calculate the remainder theorem. Now this thing. Now remainder theorem, two theorems are done. Now this is the third part. I have 2 raised to power 96 when divided by 96. Tell me the remainder. Here, this is very tricky because we will not be easily able to solve 96, 2 raised to power 9. I don't know. But I know one thing. 2 raised to power 2 is 4. 2 raised to power 3 is 8. 16. 2 raised to power 1. 2 raised to power 2. 2 raised to power 3. 2 raised to power 4. 2 raised to power 5. 2 raised to power 6. That is 64. And 2 raised to power 7 is 128. Let's see what I can use. Right? I know by the fact that 2 raised to power 96 could be written in this using this. That is 2 raised to power 5 into 2 raised to power 91 divided by 96. I hope this is okay. Now, what are you going to do? 2 raised to power 5 into 2 raised to power 91 divided by 2 raised to power 5 into 2 raised to power 91 divided by 96. 96 could be written as 32 into 3, that is 2 raised to power 5 into 3. Okay, is it clear? I have just separated 2 raised to power 5 out of numerator and denominator. And then now what is the next step? You can remove 2 raised to power 5. But in this case, make a box and keep this 2 raised to power 5 in it. For now, 2 raised to power 5 is equal to 32. Keep it separate, keep it locked. We are going to use it later. So now you have removed 2 raised to power 5 numerator from denominator. You get 2 raised to power 9 divided by 3. I hope this section is okay. 2 raised to power 5 into 3. Now, what is the next part? I know that 2 raised to power 90 could be written as 2 raised to power 2, or you can write it like this. 2 raised to power 91 could be written as 2 raised to power 90 into 2 divided by 3. I hope this is okay. Now, 2 raised to power 90 could be written like this. Is it okay? 2 raised to 2 into 2 raised to power 45 into 2 divided by 3. Simple. What have we done? Rather than writing 2 raised to power 90, we have done 2 raised to power 2 into 45. Or this is 2 into 2 raised to power 45. Right? Now, 2 into 2 raised to power 45 into 2. Now, 2 into 2 is 4 raised to power 45 into 2 is by 3. Now, what is the remainder when 4 is divisible by 3? That is 1. So, you can write it like this, 1 raised to power 45 into, what is the remainder when 2 is divided by 3? 2. So, the remainder you are going to get finally is 2. This is just a little tricky, but we are just using that multiplication remainder theorem, that when a into b into c into d into e into f is multiplied, then you can either calculate individual remainder and then put it there and then solve it. So we have got remainder as 2. Now is it the answer? No. Answer is 2, which we have got as answer, into what we have logged here. That bring it back, 2 raised to power 5. So 32 into 2 is equal to 64 is the answer. Please note it down, very important. So what we have done? We have taken a common factor, that is 2 raised to power 5. We have logged it away. We have solved the remaining part, 2 raised to power 91 divided by 3. We got 2 as the remainder in the answer. Then multiply 2 back by 2 raised to power 5, which we have already logged, right? And that is the complete answer. I hope this is okay. Moving on to the next part, that is negative remainder. What is the concept of negative remainder? See, when 13 is divided by 7, what is the remainder? Remainder is for sure 6. Either write 6 or you can write the remainder is minus 1. Why? Because, how? Because 13 could also be written like this, 7 into 2, 7 to the 14 minus 1. So this is again quotient into divisor, sorry, not divisor, divisor into quotient plus remainder, right? So the concept of negative remainder is, whenever we have a remainder of 6 for divisible by 7, you can write it as minus 1. Whenever we have remainder of 5, you can write it as minus 2. Whenever there is remainder of 4, you can write it as minus 3. Suppose I say, what is the remainder when 45 is divided by, say, 7. So when 45 is divided by 7, you get the remainder as 3, that we all know. Or you can write it 3 as 3 minus 7 minus 4. That is also a remainder, right? So whenever we have a remainder, suppose remainder with number 7, when divisible by 7 is 6, other remainder could be, subtract a minus from it, minus 7 from it. What 7? Subtract a 7 from it, that is minus 1. Minus 1 is also equal to 6 as a remainder. I hope you understand the concept of remainder, right? Now let's see the use of it. 7 raised to power 21 when divided by 50, give me the remainder. See, I don't know divisibility by 50 that easy. So what I can do? I can only do 7 into 7 raised to power 10 plus, not plus, into 7. What I have done? So these are total 27s. 7 into 7 raised to power 10 into 7. So 20 plus 1, 21 divided by 50. This part is done. Now I can write it like 49 raised to power 10 into 7 divided by 50. Is it okay? Now 49, when 49 is divided by 50, you get a remainder of minus 1 raised to power 10 into, when 7 is divided by 50, you get a remainder of 7. So minus 1 raised to power 10 is plus 1 into 7 is equal to 7 as the answer. So the concept is, instead of using remainder as 49, when 49 is divided by 50, the remainder is 49. But rather than writing it as 49, what you are going to write? You are going to write remainder is minus 1. Minus 1 makes it easy. Minus 1 raised to power 10, that is plus 1, and that is how you solve the question. Please, this I am putting stars here. Put a lot of emphasis on these questions. Why? Because this is the basic concept which you are going to use to solve the remainder questions in the exam. This is like this is the golden rule. These 3 theorems, 3 or 4 theorems. One is addition, second multiplication, third one is when remainder, divisor and dividend has a common factor, right? Numerator and denominator has a common factor. And the concept of negative remainder. I cannot push you more, that this is the concept you need to know, then only you can apply them in the exam, right? Next part, this is another question is 3 raised to power 444 plus 4 raised to power 333. What is the remainder when divided by 5? Right? This is a question they have asked in the exam already. I'm not sure if it was CSAT or CAT, but this is an exam question. Let's see what we can do here. We know when 3 raised to power 4, when 3 is divided by when 3 is divided by uh, when 3 is divided by 5, you get a remainder of 3, no use. So I can write it as like 3 square 222. So I'm just solving 3 now. 3 square 222, or this could be written as 9 into 222 divided by 5. So when 9 is divided by 5, the remainder is 4 or minus 1. Is it okay? Minus 1 you can also write, right? So minus 1 raised to power 222. So the remainder is plus 1. This is okay. Second part, 4 raised to power 333. 4 could be written as 4 square into 4 square. Then we have 332 plus 1. I hope that is okay. I'm doing, yes, 332 by 1 divided by 2. You will get 2 1 2 1 the 2 2 6 are 12 2 6 are 12 into 4. I hope you are able to understand. This is 332 plus 1, 4, right? So 4 square is 16 raised to power 166 into 4. When 16 is divided by 5, you get remainder as 1 raised to power 166 into 4. So solving this, you will get remainder as 4, right? So this part, so now this is could be written as remainder as 1 plus 4, that is 5. Now we have got remainder as 5. But this 5, when divided by 5, the remainder will be 0. That is the answer. I hope it is clear. We have solved separately for 3 raised to power 444, that is negative remainder, and 4 raised to power 333, that is positive remainder, and we were trying to find remainder as 1. And then this is how we solved it. I hope this is okay. Now this question is CSAT question 2020. Now 51 into 27, I'm going to leave it for you to do yourself, 35, 62 and 75. But I'm just giving you an idea of how is to solve this. Now, what I will try to do, I will try to find the common factor in numerator and denominator. Common factor will be 35 could be written as 7 5s are 35, and 75 could be written as 25 into 3. So I could maximum take out 25 from the numerator. 25 into, can I take 2 as well? Yes. So 2 could come from here, 31 into 2. So what I am doing right now, I am doing 25 into 2 I have taken out separately, and I am left with 51, 27, 7 into 5, both are okay, 35. I have taken 2 from here, so I am left with 31. I am taken 25 from here, I left 31. Divided by 50 into 2. I hope this is okay. 50 into 2, and I have taken 50 as a common factor from the numerator. So just you can cancel these out. This one, but log this in a box which we are going to use later. Now you have to find the remainder when 51 into 27 into 35 into 31 into 3 divided by 2. You can simple, this is the easiest one. When 51 is divided by 2, you will get remainder as 1. 27 is 1, 35 is 1, 31 is 1, 3 is 1. You will get 1 as answer. But 1 is not the answer. You have to bring the log 50 from the this thing, and the 50 is the answer. I hope this is okay. Right? Okay, now we are starting with the powers. Power of a number. Power is just an exponent. Suppose I say 2 raised to power of 5. So this is a power, right? Power to a base, 2 raised to power 5. So in this section, we are going to learn about whenever a 2 raised to power or 3 raised to power is given to you, how to find the last digit of the number. Suppose they ask you, what is the last digit of this number? 2 raised to power 40. What is the last digit? I don't know. What we are going to do? We are going to use this method to find the last digit of the power. Let's see. If only 2 raised to power 1 was given to us, then the last digit would have been 2. If when 2 raised to power square is done, the last digit is 4. When 2 raised to power 3 is done, the last digit is 8. When 2 raised to power 4 is there, the last digit 6. When 2 raised to power 5 is there, last digit is 32 means 2. 2 raised to power 6 is 4. 2 raised to power 7 is 8. 2 raised to power 8 is 6. So you will see after every 4, this is repeating. So after every 4 powers, this is repeating. So this will be when we have a 1, we have 2, when we have power of 2, we have 4, when we have power of 3, we have 8, when we have power of 4, that is 6. Right? So now, what are we checking here? To check for 2 raised to power 40, you know, to check 2 raised to power 40, this is nothing but there are total 10 batches of this thing, 2 raised to power 4. So what I can do is like 2 into 2 into 2, 2 into 2. This forms of batch number 1. Then 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. This is batch number 2. If you continue like this, the last batch will be 37, 38, 39 and 40. So you will get a last batch, right? So the answer will be equal to what we get when this part, that is 6, right? So I will give you a trick here. Simply 2 raised to power 40, 2 raised to power 40, then use this number 40 and after how many digits it is repeating? After how many digits it is repeating? So it is repeating after every 4. So find the remainder with 4. So remainder with 4 is 0. So this corresponds to remainder as 1. Remainder as 1. This corresponds to remainder as 2. This corresponds to remainder as 3. This corresponds to remainder as 0. So if 40 is divided by 4, you will get remainder as 0. So your answer will be this one, that is 6. We'll see this in the next question as well, so don't worry. If it is clear, this is powers, right? Now I'm just removing this section. Here what do we have? The second part. The second is last digit of 3 raised to power 42. So what do we have? When I say 3 raised to power 1, I get 3. 3 square is 9. 3 is 7. Last digit 27, so 7. 3 raised to power 4 is 81, 1. 3 raised to power 5 is again 3. 3 raised to power 6 is 9. 3 raised to power 7 is 7. 3 raised to power 8 is 1. How am I doing it? So last digit is 3. So multiplying here 3, 9. 3 multiplied by 9 is 27. So last digit is 7. When 7 multiplied by 3, 21. So last digit is 1. 1 multiplied by 3 is 3. So last digit is 3. And so on. So I have got a pair of 4 now. 4 of pairing is done. As I've already told you, now we have to find the remainder of 3 raised to power 42. So 3 raised to power 42. Now 42, check the remainder with the after how many digits it is repeating. So it is repeating after every 4 digits. So you get remainder as 2. So remainder is 2. Now check, this correspond to remainder as 1. This correspond to remainder as 2. This correspond to remainder as 3. This correspond to remainder as 0. So the answer we are looking for is remainder as 2. That is answer as 9. I hope it is okay. This is clear? Now 5 raised to power 107. See, 5 raised to power 1 is 5. 5 square is 25, again 5. 5 cube is what? 15, again 5. So last digit of 5 raised to power anything is 5. 5 raised to power 107 will also be 5. The easiest of all, I hope this is also clear. 6. 6 has a pattern, that is 6 6 are 36. 6 6 are 36. So all the last digit will always be 6. So the last digit of 6 will be 6. 7. 7 is 7. 7s are 49. 9 7s are 63. 63 7s are 3 7s are 21. So it will repeat after every 4. So we have 406 in our question. Divided by 4, you will get remainder as 2. Remainder as 2. So when remainder, I have already told you, this is equal to remainder 1. This is remainder 2. This is remainder 2. This is remainder 3. And this is remainder 0. So the answer we are looking for here is remainder 2, that is 9. 9 is the answer. Last digit of 8. 8 8s are 64, right? Then 4 8s are 32. 32 8 2 8s are 16. 6 8s are 48. 8 4 are 32. 8 8s are 64. So the repeating pattern in 8 is this. 8, right? So 17 we are looking for, divided by 4. Why? How many pairs we have of pairing of 4? So 4, you are left with remainder as 1. If remainder is 1, you can correspond, this is remainder 1, this is remainder 2, this is remainder 3, this is remainder 0. So the answer we are looking for is remainder 1, that is 8. 8 is the answer. I hope this is also clear. Now the last portion is negative power and positive power. 1 by 2 raised to power 6. Can you write it also like 1 by 2 raised to power 6 and 1 raised to power 6? You can write it like this. So 1 by 2 raised to power 6 is 2 to the 4, 4 4 16, 16 4 to the 64. So 64 is the answer. This is the normalest positive power. When we have 1 by 2 raised to power minus 6, one thing you can do is, you can write it like 1 by 2 raised to power minus 1, bigger power as 6. So I have just separated minus 6 into minus 1 into 6. So whenever there is a power of minus 1 of any fraction, you can do the reciprocal. Reciprocal means make numerator as denominator and denominator as numerator. So 1 by 2 will become 2 by 1. 1 by 2 will become 2 by 1 raised to power 6. So 2 by 1 raised to power 6 is 2 by 6. 2 raised to power 6. 2 raised to power 6 is 64 is the answer you are looking for. This is just just understanding the basic concept of negative power. I hope this is okay. Now that's all for this video. Please, so if you ask me which portion I should focus more on, you should focus more on understanding the basics of number system. Then the second part is equally important, or if you ask me, that is even more important. In the first portion, the question they could ask you is the repeating decimal one, P by Q form. In second, the remainder theorem. Most of the questions in number system come from that section only, that is remainders. So invest your lot of time in that portion, and in that portion specifically those 4 theorems, that A into B into C, A plus B plus C plus D divide, or if you have to find the remainder of it, you find separate remainders and then do the addition. Then we had a similar multiplication as well. Then that is another thing. The third, then after that we have 2 types of question, that is common divisor and the concept of negative remainder. Power questions, the last section we have learned is powers. There, finding a last digit when 2 raised to power something is given, 3 raised to power something is given, 4 raised to power something is given, 5 raised to power something is given. And also I want to mention you one thing. They are not going to simply ask you what is 2 raised to power 32 last digit. That is simple thing, right? How did we do? 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 to 4, 4 to the, sorry, not 6, 8. 4 to the 8, 8 to the 16, then this was repeating, right? But instead of this, suppose they have given you 1862 raised to power 32. Only when they have asked you what is the last digit of this one, please note it down. If they have asked you last digit of this, some complex, you can simply write it like this, 2 raised to power 32. Why? Because last digit is only decided by the last digit. So in 1862, only 2 will decide what the last digit will. A 186 will not decide the last digit. So if they have asked you 1862 raised to power 32, what is the unit digit or the last digit of the answer? You can simply write it as 2 raised to power 32. And solving 2 raised to power 32 is easy, right? So this is how you do it. Another example, 8693 raised to power 27. So give me the last digit. So last digit, you don't have to find the last digit of the full number. You just focus on 3. Why? Because it's only the last digit which decides the unit digit of the answer, and other digits don't play any role in solving the last digit. Why? Obviously we know, right? Suppose 64 multiplied by 5. 5 into 4. This decides the last digit. 5, 6 5s are 30. These does not decide the last digit. Only the unit digit is decided by the last place number. I hope this is okay. And this completes our first class of number system of basics, remainders and powers. If you ask me, this was the most important class we have learned till now, because a majority of questions which you could expect in any of the topic of like the top 3 topics, remainders will always be in the top 3 topics or the favorite topics of CSAT section, right? So that's all for this video. We'll meet in the next video and we'll continue with the number system. Till then, best of luck. And if you have any doubt, please post them in the comments. And if you want to download this PDF, this is already available on the Telegram channel, right? And the link is in the description. Thank you. We'll meet in the next video.